Hey everyone, what is up? I am Exit over here, and I'm here to give my review for the Arrow mid-season premiere, Season 7, Episode 10, titled, well, it was titled My Name is Emiko Queen. Now it seems to be titled Shattered Lives, because, My Name is Emiko Queen was kind of a spoiler and all that. But yeah, so there is going to be huge spoilers for the episode from this point on. Okay, so first off, I just want to say how great the montage at the start of the episode was, showing Emiko going around with her list, just crossing names off. Every time she threw a punch or she shot an arrow at somebody, we would see her just cross their name out. That was really cool, and it that's something that I don't think we ever saw in Arrow Season 1. Even though Arrow Season 1 was all revolved around the list, we never really saw a montage of him just crossing a ton of names off the list, because practically every episode, what name was on the list, practically an entire episode would be devoted to that one name. So we never really just saw him be badass and taking out tons of them at the same time. So that was really cool and unique to see here. The music they give Emiko Queen, it sounds just similar enough to the normal Green Arrow theme so that you know she's the Green Arrow. But it also has this little difference to it. It's a good theme, and that's just kind of what I'm trying to get at here. It was really good. And I just think that this was a very strong opening for Emiko Queen as the Green Arrow. And it really does set her aside from Oliver's Green Arrow, aside from Diggle's Green Arrow. Sets her in to be her own unique person. So I think it was great that right after finding out who she was, we got an episode devoted to learning everything we can about her. But yeah, this episode was basically all about Emiko. Most of the plot lines besides the Argus plot lines somehow tied into Emiko's plot. We learned a lot about her heritage. I think that her mother's name is Kasumi Vidachi, I believe, or something like that. I might have butchered it, but she's actually Shadow's grandmother in the comics, and Shadow is Emiko's mother in the comics, so it's cool that they kind of roped that in by having it be somebody who in the comics is related to Shadow, because they obviously couldn't use Shadow since she's already been used on the show. We found out that she was killed in a fire, but it wasn't actually a fire. Her body burned up in the fire, but she was actually shot in the head before the fire. And Emiko believes that the person who did that is a guy called William Glenn Morgan. And so her list is all about getting revenge on William Glenn Morgan, and all the names she's been crossing out have somehow linked to Glenn Morgan. She does catch up to him in this episode, and I noticed when William Glenn Morgan, he took this cool little weapon thingy off of the shelf and he starts swinging at Emiko. I was like, damn, okay, well, if they're giving him this kind of a fight scene, he has to be some character from the comics. But his name wasn't ringing any bells, so I looked him up and he was Congo Bill. And that blew my mind, because Congo Bill is such an old and obscure DC character. He's been around since the 40s, but nobody knows who he is. He was in some of the early Action comics, and he was actually in the very first Green Arrow comic, which is More Fun Comics. He was there when Moira and Robert Queen were killed, and it was a cool character to just bring in. He's so obscure, but he still has his ties to the Green Arrow mythos, so it makes sense that they bring him in. I just thought it was cool that they did that, because he's a character that really doesn't get anything lately. I'm pretty sure he hasn't really gotten anything at all in the last 20-30 years, but it was cool. It was nice to see Oliver investigating Emiko, and we actually got into that pretty quick with Oliver finding out who she was. He brought some DNA of her blood that she left at a crime scene. She brought it to Felicity. Felicity scanned it and was like, Oliver, just so you know, this is your sister. And Oliver's like, what? But it's not Thea, because it's on your father's side, not your mother's side. That was a nice little thing to tie in, because I was kind of worried that when they did find out her DNA, they'd be like, oh my god, is Thea the new Green Arrow? And then we have like an episode of them trying to figure out if it's Thea or not, and then at the end realize it's Emiko. So I like how they just skipped over that immediately with one line. It helps them move the plot along. It's also, we did something like this similarly in the Season 3 mid-season final, whereas when they are trying to find out who killed Sarah, it says that Thea killed Sarah because they're getting, or it says that Oliver killed Sarah because they're getting Queen DNA, so to speak. So it was cool that we just jumped over that. Then Oliver kind of discovers, he goes looking into it, he finds out that Robert wrote a letter about it to about Emiko to Walter Steele and was like, if anything happens to me, please take care of Emiko. Make sure her and her mother are safe. And Moira basically shut that down. She made sure that that letter never saw the light of day. And I thought that was good because it really is just, again, hammering down the fact that Moira didn't want to acknowledge anything like this. When she found out that Oliver was about to have a son, William, with Samantha and all that, she didn't tell Oliver, no. She sent Samantha away. So it was cool when Oliver he looked at the letter, and when he realized that it was under Moira's name, that she hid this away, he was like, yeah, this is something she would do. She did this to my son. She practically did this about Thea with completely ignored the fact that Malcolm was her father. And the more we get into this, the more we realize that their family is extremely fucked up. They never acknowledge anything. In season 1, we're kind of shown that this is for most of season 1, it seems the family was quite nice. They were pretty cool. And the more the seasons go along, we realize that Oliver's pretty much the only legitimate child in their family, and there's a lot of children in their family. I really like the end scene of the episode where where Emiko goes to Robert Queen's grave at the Queen Mansion place, and Oliver just walks up behind her, and is like, "Hello, Emiko." And we got the two themes, Oliver and Emiko's theme, kind of blending together. That was really cool. I also loved the little monologue that she gave. She's like, "My name is Emiko Queen." Also, I'm very sorry. When I was reading the comics, I always when I saw her name show up, I would say it in my head as Emiko. But a lot of the time in this episode, they were calling her Emiko, and it never crossed my mind that her name would actually be pronounced that way. But some of the characters were also saying Emiko, so I'm kind of treating it like Raj Al Ghul, in which a lot of characters say Raj, a lot of characters say Raj, or Raz, not Raj. But yeah, so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I should probably mention the whole Argus plot with the Suicide Squad. It seems that they are not allowed to say Suicide Squad at all, which sucks because I thought we were over this whole WB being stupid about character rights kind of things, but they never actually said Suicide Squad in the episode. They called it the Ghost Initiative, and I kind of think that means they're not allowed to say it at all, because they would have said Suicide Squad this episode if they were going to say it. But no, the Ghost Initiative, but it's the same thing, putting bombs to people's heads, making inmates go on missions that they don't want to send Argus agents on. I think next episode is going to be very focused on the Ghost Initiative. So, yeah, it's cool that we're bringing that back anyway. And that's an arc that I'm really looking forward to. Just that my only problem with it is that I don't see Ricardo Diaz as the kind of person who would work on that kind of team. I think that he's going to escape. I think it's inevitable that he's going to kind of weasel his way out of this and probably end up being the season-long villain, because I think if someone else was going to be the season villain, we probably would have at least been introduced to them by now. It could be Dante, but I think we should have at least seen that character once. But it's a weird situation we're in here with the villain thing, because even last season, where we didn't find out who the main villain was until one of the last couple of episodes, we still had met Ricardo Diaz by that point. I want to talk about the flash forwards for a second, because we got actually kind of a lot of progress on that. So it seems that something happened that was kind of the undertaking, but not the undertaking, in that Star City is now the crime-ridden, horrible part of the city, while the Glades is actually the nice part that everyone wants to live in. And it seems like Renee is going to be somehow involved in blowing up the Star City part, akin to how Malcolm Merlyn blew up the Glades part. It seems like it's a nice little twist on the thing, but I don't know how this is going to work. I want to know who the character was that Renee was talking to, and if he's supposed to be somebody that, when we hear his name, we'll know who he is. Because he seems like a nobody at the moment. But it's an intriguing plotline, and it'll obviously tie into all of this Black Star stuff, to this, the four, or the, what was it called again? The four circle or something? The Mark of Four, that's the one, I think. I can't remember. But that, and then the Archer program or whatever. There's a lot of little things we're getting out of this, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go, because it's a really weird thing they're doing, but I'm liking it. We also got two references to DC places, Santa Prisca, which is the home of Bane, and Kandahar, I believe, which is the home of Black Adam. I think the Santa Prisca references are probably setting up for Batwoman in some form. Maybe they'll have Bane show up in Batwoman at some point. The Kandahar references, they actually go back to the Arrow Season 2.5 comics that are set between Seasons 2 and 3. The Suicide Squad is actually sent on a mission there in those comics, in which I think Black Adam actually did show up. I haven't read those ones. I've read some of the early ones, but I didn't really enjoy them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Black Adam shows up in those comics when they go there. So that's kind of cool. I don't think they're going to do anything like this, like that in this, but it's still cool nonetheless. So overall, I did enjoy this episode. I think it was a strong way to come back for the second half. If the Argus stuff wasn't too interesting, I was kind of just wanted to know how far they'd go with calling it the Suicide Squad, which they didn't go very far at all. It was a little slow, but overall, I thought it set up a lot, and while the other mid-season premieres were kind of filler, this definitely was the opposite. This set up so much, and it really did give us a reason to like Emiko, to be invested in her character, and just to look forward for what the second half of the season has in store for us. So I would give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. But thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you, and have a great day.